As the point of access between the cities of Albany and Montreal, Ticonderoga controlled the portage between two large lakes to the north and south, Champlain and Lake George. Now it's a popular tourist stop for visitors from all over. As we cover the truth and legends, you'll see pause points on the screen indicating where you can pause the video to read more information. Lee on camera walking through a fort. All right, looking like he owns the place.
I do. I'm ready to board the USS Enterprise, but first, let's man this fort. There we go. Ticonderoga. Yo.
Originally built by the French in the mid-1700s and named Fort Carillon, the British attacked and in 1758, resulting in the longest battle of the French and Indian War. The full capture by the British occurred in 1759. Now, during the late 1700s and the first peak of burgeoning America's real go-getter attitude, Fort Ticonderoga was the stage and battlefield for pivotal turning points in American history. During the American War for Independence, wherein fledgling and disobedient colonies had enough of English taxes, dumped an absolute ton of tea into the Boston Harbor and told England to head home, we've got it from here, Ticonderoga's ideal location and the surrounding landscape made it a great place to have control of. Specifically, it was on the night of May 10th, 1775, when Ethan Allen, long before he sold high-end outdoor clothing, and Benedict Arnold, before his controversial years, sailed silently across Lake Champlain in the company of the Green Mountain Boys of Vermont and a commission from Massachusetts with Arnold, and launched a sneak attack, taking Fort Ti by storm. Those in the know call it Fort Ti. Ticonderoga is a long name, and now you're in the know. The name Ticonderoga comes from the Iroquois word Ticonderogan, meaning it is at the junction of two waterways. And that's a fact. It was from this very fort which Henry Knox, another name you've been tested on if you attended grade school in the United States, oversaw the transfer of artillery and heavy guns over frozen river and snow-blanketed mountains to Boston. Those guns from Fort Ti were the very ones which forced the British to evacuate Boston in March of 1776. That and the tea thing must have made them severely upset. The fort was captured once more without a fight in July of 1777, but with the British defeat at nearby Saratoga in October of that same year, Fort Ti's fortified stone walls saw no more military action. What you must know is how ruined, used, and full of echoes of the past this fort was left in after its use became obsolete. Considering the lengthy history of this location, and if we apply some common paranormal theories to the situation, such as multiple traumatic moments among hundreds of people causing an energetic loop on the property, and something like sites of extreme emotion causing an unrested spirit to stay in the place that emotion occurred, one would expect several ghosts to roam Fort Ticonderoga. While you can look back through your iTunes library and watch a Ghost Hunters episode featuring this location from several years ago, there are ghosts that predate the television years. Even before the fort was restored, there were rumors and whisperings of a haunting. Some reported seeing ghostly soldiers walking the halls and barracks. Their wails and cries were heard when no one was there, and again, if that paranormal logic is to stand up to reason, the deaths of hundreds, if not thousands of men over the years would have been at the hands of disease, not battle injuries, implying many deaths on the property and perhaps the sounds of many ghosts. 2 ghostly women are said to have permanent residence at Fort Ti as well. That of Nancy Coates, the mistress of General Anthony Wayne, known as Mad Anthony. In a story as old as time, Nancy was scorned by the general's choice to leave her for another woman. So she waits, roams, and stands forlornly about the fort to this day. The other specter is allegedly that of Sarah Pell, a woman whose family restored the fort, who wanders the grounds also. It always makes me wonder if these spectral women interact at all. Interestingly enough, an even older spooky legend concerning Fort Ti is in existence, and it begins in Inverrah, Scotland. I'll recite that for you now from a blog I've linked in the description. One day, Duncan Campbell, Laird of Inverrah, was in the hall when a man burst in and, touching the hearthstone, claimed sanctuary, explaining that he had killed a man and was on the run. Keeping true to the unwritten law of the Highlands, the sanctuary must be given to any man who touches your hearthstone. Inverrah duly hid the man. A short time later, the stranger's pursuers arrived. Inverrah was horrified to learn that it was his foster brother who had been killed, but he stuck to his oath and did not give the murderer away. That night, as he tossed and turned, the ghost of his foster brother appeared, imploring him to give up the murderer, but Inverrah was honor-bound and was forced to refuse. During a second harrowing night, the ghost appeared again, demanding Inverrah give up his murderer. Inverrah, shield not the murderer. Blood must flow for blood. Again, Inverrah could not break his oath. Inverrah could stand having the murderer under his roof no longer. He took the wretch to a safe cave on Cruachan, promising to bring him food and water the next day. The next day, the cave was empty. The man had fled. That night the ghost appeared for the last time, saying to Duncan, "Farewell, we meet again at Ticonderoga." The name meant nothing to Duncan, and as the years passed, it went out of his mind. He joined the army and rose to be second in command of the famous Black Watch, with whom he went to America to fight the French. The British Army advanced north from New York and finally came up against the enemy at Fort Carillon on Lake George in 1758. The evening before the attack, Inverrah received another visit from his foster brother's ghost. Inverrah knew that his fate was sealed, for the Indian name for Fort Carillon was Ticonderoga. The next day, a fierce and bloody battle was fought, but the French position gave them the advantage from the start. Finally, the remnants of the 42nd retreated. Among their heavy casualties was Major Duncan Campbell, mortally wounded. He died 10 days later. Inverrah never returned to Scotland and was buried near the site of the battle. His gravestone still remains.
Luke, I am your father. That's got a great echo.
Hi.
Bronze.
It's a lot of cannons.
So many cannons. Thanks for watching and joining us at historic Fort Ticonderoga. If you like what you see, don't be shy with the subscribe button or the thumbs up button, and leave a comment to let us know what you thought. Stay weird.